Welcome back. Let's shift our attention to enhancing the application which we want to create. We created a welcome page, and now let's look forward to creating a login page. What will the login page typically contain? A username and a password. Let's create a simple page with a username and password, and we'll use a login component to contain all the code of that. How do you create a component? Let's use the ng client. Ng generate. What do we want to generate? We want to generate a component. What is the name of it? Login, right? This is very simple. This is something which we would be doing a number of times during this specific course, and actually you would be doing this a number of times during your career because you would want to create a lot of components when you are writing Angular code. Let's go ahead and do that. Login. It would create, how many files would it create? It creates 4 files, and it updates the app.module. What is happening in here is login component is created and the login component is added to the app module. And the login component, how many files are created? 4. A CSS file, a HTML file, and the TypeScript file, which would contain the view logic. So this would contain the styling, this would contain the view, and this would contain the view logic. This file we'll not worry about. This would be typically the unit test file. Let's open up the IDE and you would see login folder in here, and this is where the whole thing is present. The easiest way to open up files is by just pressing Ctrl P or Command P. Let's start using Ctrl P or Command P to start opening the files because that would help you remember the names of the files better. So login.component.ts, CSS, HTML. These are the 3 important files. Let's go to the HTML file. It says login works right now. Let's see the application. Login works is not really shown. Why? Because we have not included the login tag anywhere. What is the tag of the login component? Let's go to login.component.ts. The tag is app-login. So let's open up. Which file would contain code for including the tag in? It would be the app component because that's kind of the root component where we are starting everything off from. So app component starts off, and from there we are including all the other components in. So if I want to show the login page, I can say app login here. Right, let's see if I see the content. Yep, it says login works right now. So now you can see login work as part of this particular thing as well. One of the important things is the fact that right now we are including all the components as part of the root component, which is the app component. So what is happening here is the root component is getting loaded, which is the app component, and the root component contains a number of other components. So all the other components are getting rendered as part of the root component. What I want to do from here on is just focus on a specific component at a particular point. So what I'll do is I'll remove this code. This is not really needed anymore, and I'll comment out the app welcome and all the content below it. So we don't really need it anymore. What we'll do is we'll start focusing on the login, and at a later point in time we would make use of a router. So the router would help us routing from login to welcome page and all that fun stuff. Let's not really worry about it right now. Let's focus on the login page, and if you go to the browser, the only thing you are seeing right now is login works. The index.html content. Where is this coming from? This is coming from the index.html file. So in the index.html file, we are loading the root component, and the root component, after that we have this. So let's comment this out as well. The shortcut, if you want to comment something out, is control or command and slash. So control command slash would comment anything, whether it's HTML, whether it's JavaScript. You'd be able to easily comment it. Now let's go to the page, and you'd see that login works is the only one which we are seeing. Now let's focus on the login component. Login.component.html is where it's present. Let's create a simple login page. So I would want to get the username and the password. How do we get the username and password typically in HTML? You would create an input element. So input type is equal to text, and we would want to say, we would want to put in a name, and the name is username, and let's have a password field as well. Input type is equal to password, and name let's have it as password as well. Cool, right? Now, if you go to the browser, you'd see a username and a password. This looks like a typical page. No styling yet. We'll talk about styling a little later. For now, what we have is very basic page. We see the username, password, and I can enter some values in here, and we can do nothing with it right now. That's okay. In this quick step, we created the login component and cleaned everything up so that the only thing which we are seeing on the screen is the login component alone. In the next step, let's make the login component a little bit more functional. I'll see you in the next step. Until then, bye bye.